Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of the special free comic book day Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid issue. I feel like that was a lot of titles. So stay Skull. I almost forgot about this thing existing because I think I said in my last review the next one, like Shattered Grid Re-Rated Review would be, you know, the next MMPR issue 27 I think it is. But I totally forgot about this thing, so it's kind of a nice surprise. But this was a really cool issue. Honestly, it might be my favorite. It primarily did two things. It had the main storytelling device of this, which was introducing us to like Zordon going into the Morphing Grid and meeting the Emissaries and sort of introducing some lore about the Emissaries and the Morphin Masters, and then him basically recapping the events of MMPR slash the core plot points of the Boom comic. So that it was really cool on multiple accounts. Like the Morphing Grid and all the PR lore is just something so untapped. It's something that's always kind of vaguely mentioned. We've gotten various takes and, well, mentions over the years, but we've never really gotten a full exploration of it in a lot of ways. And it's always had this really cool mystique to it, you know, its general existence, the whole May the Power Protect You being kind of like, you know, a knockoff version of May the Force be with you and stuff, but it's always given this sort of weight to being a Ranger, in my opinion, and something that makes the Power Rangers mythology more interesting and kind of cooler than just Sentai just being a random dude in a weird-looking bike suit. It was just a really neat bit of lore that made Power Rangers feel kind of special that's never been explored really, and especially in recent years they really don't care to explore anything except for fart jokes. So this was really cool, and then we really only got like a taste of it. Like, I'll get to this in a second, but I almost wish we hadn't spent this time recapping MMPR Season 1. I'm like, no, let's just give me like 50 million pages exploring this lore. Because basically Zordon goes in there to plead with these emissaries to get the Morphin Masters to intervene because Drakkon sets a threat. And these emissaries are kind of like, there's 3 of them, and they're red, blue, and yellow, so sort of the primary colors, and they're constantly, like their forms are constantly shifting between a variation of a bunch of the red, yellow, and blue Rangers we've seen over the course of the series. We don't get to see all of them, but there's a bunch of shifts. Sometimes they're like almost fully engulfed in one form, sometimes it's like half. For a cool example, there was one point when Blue was talking and it was literally like almost half split between MMPR Blue and Dino Thunder Blue. So they're just like constantly phasing in and out of these forms. Almost kind of like if Aqua Ranger was some sort of like emissary being and he was just always shifting between them, and it was really cool. I almost would have loved to see little Easter eggs like some of the new Powers teams and stuff like that. Not for like a Sentai reference, like, oh my god, they care about the original Tokusatsu source. No, I don't care about that. It would more be like, oh cool, like alien Rangers out there more than just the Earth. But because it kind of, you know, hints at the Morphing Grid is kind of this, and this dimension they're in is like this shared pocket dimension that connects all of the multiverse, you know, so they see all, they're kind of like, in a way, kind of like Dr. Manhattan in this sense with their dialogue, where they just see all the outcomes and all the universes and timelines, and, you know, so the way Zordon's describing this to them, they're like, oh yeah, this is just, you know, it'll work itself out, it always does, it's kind of, it's cyclical, it just, don't even worry about it. Although, I don't remember which color it was, but one of them said, well, maybe we should help him, like, after he left. But they're basically like the classic, even though like the Morphin Masters is something, I don't know if this has ever been hinted at anywhere. I do not remember it, surely, anything about the Emissaries. I think it's all new stuff, but maybe the Morphin Masters sounds kind of familiar, but it may just be because of the way of the alliteration of it all. But anyway, but Zordon wants to appeal to the Morphin Masters. Like, at first I thought these were the Morphin Masters, but they're just emissaries, and they're kind of like the classic, like, omniscient gods that are like, oh, feeble, your powers, your problems are too small for me. Like, oh god, so douchey. Why do you think they killed Ember and Umber? But then magic got shut off, but it's fine. No, but so that was kind of that classic setup, and we don't know exactly who they are. I feel like, because they said, oh, Zordon, because you're coming to see us now, basically, you know, when you're done with this mission, you don't get to come, you know, move on to being a emissary as well. So I'm gonna kind of headcanon assume at the moment, until we get something clearer, if we do, that they were somebody like Zordon, that, because they referenced Zordon as a sage, but somebody like Zordon that was helpful to Ranger history and eventually got to become a, you know, like the Jedi Council, but super higher than that. Like Force Ghost Jedi Council in a way. And Zordon was like, this is outrageous. Not in the history of the Order has a sage not been granted the rank of emissary. And then he slaughtered all of the Morphin younglings. Just boom, gone. There goes Justin, any little kid that's ever appeared in PR, Sophie, the dumb girl from Lightspeed Rescue, the Dino Thunder kid, hey lady, that's what happened. No, but yeah, so he's like appealing to them, basically, and I just felt like I went on about that too long because it was so cool. And then he's sort of like, wait, let me explain to you my history. And then like they basically show a recap of MMPR Season 1, which I think is funny, because with better dialogue. At first I'm like, oh crap, is this gonna be like a total nostalgia fest with same dialogue? But then like there's a scene with Trini and Kimberly where they mention swiping right. I'm like, nope, this isn't from the 90s. And so they show basically a recap of that. And it's funny, like I said, because it showcases that the storyline of MMPR Season 1 was this. The Rangers get their powers, Green Ranger, that's it. That was the storyline. Like, seriously, that show had no storyline. It even showcases like, hey look, these Boom versions are goody two-shoes as well. They're volunteering for the environment. And then it showcased like, oh, then Tommy was here, and then we freed him, and then, you know, but in this timeline, Tommy became Drakkon, and then it showcases that Tommy killed Rita and took her place. Honestly, I don't remember if that was mentioned before. I probably should reread everything, and I might do it at some point between issues, because I honestly couldn't remember if it was implied that Tommy took her out, or if I honestly kept thinking, oh, maybe she just like left Earth to go, you know, meet up with the Alliance of Evil in this universe or something, conquer another planet, and just left Tommy to rule it as like a reward. No, but he was like, boom, boom, this is mine now. I'm gonna make all these ranges. I don't know why he's talking like that. But yeah, it was really cool. That was a cool bit, and a cool twist on showing that it wasn't just a flashback. But man, would I have loved to have rather, instead of seeing the recap events of the series, like basically some highlighted MMPR Season 1 scenes, but with actually well-written dialogue, was cool. Don't get me wrong, that was neat. I'm not saying I didn't like seeing that in part, but I was just so intrigued by this lore that they introduced that I'm disappointed that we didn't get to see more of it. I really hope. It also reminded me of, I don't know if anyone saw that fan film, just not this general premise, but just thinking about backstory, it just reminded me of the fan film Zordon of Eltar, which I thought was really cool. Like, so, I hope we get more stuff on this later. I don't know if we'll get it in Shattered Grid, but in some point in the future of the comic series, I would love to see this lore explored. Either whether it involves a story that somehow gives us backstory on this, or we could maybe get a full-on little side story or something. That would be really cool. Like, I would also maybe love to get one of those like compendium nerd books that's like all the info about a comic series, and you can get little bits of lore and backstory that just aren't in the main series. But yeah, this was really, really cool. I think it was a really cool way of continuing to make the Ranger mythos feel cool and really start to take advantage of the unique nature of Power Rangers mythos, and it was really neat. I loved seeing it. What I wouldn't give to see either a live action or an animated, like 2-3 minute clip of what the Emissaries look like flashing between the Ranger powers. That was just really, really cool. That was just so neat. Like I said, the rewritten dialogue for MMPR Season 1 stuff was, and the Rita stuff was cool, but it was mainly the lore stuff. That's why this is probably my favorite one. I mean, the other stuff has been good for sure, but this was the one where I keep wanting to reread it because the lore stuff was so cool. I would probably give it a 9. Definitely check this one out. I'm really hoping that in Shattered Grid and beyond we continue to expand the universe like this, because this was really cool. Anyway, that's about it. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It's Awesome Writer, signing out.